Oh, well, this weekend was feels like every weekend seems to be a little bit more enlightening every single time. Um I mean, it's funny, I ran out of wine like on Thursday or something, so I didn't drink for Saturday and Sunday night, my glass of wine. And then I got it last night, and obviously I had a glass, but it it felt different. I don't know if it felt different just cause like, not really. Fuck, I don't know what I'm talking about. Not different, but it felt. I say strange. I would say strange is better. It was a familiar feeling, of course. I mean, I've been drinking for a very long time, but when you have your glass of wine, knowing that, or me knowing that I felt like I needed it, it felt different. Like I knew I could enjoy it at the time, but I was drinking. I was like, why do I need this? Like I felt like I needed it, and another way, like I have a candle. Let's see, if you're listening, I'm pointing at my candle. This purple thing right here, that's my candle. Or I usually have a candle back there. It helps soothe me. But every night, I I light it up, just like, cause in my room I'll have my regular lights. They're basically in night mode, and I have some LEDs around here. But over on that side, it's a little dark, so I just light it up. And then the couple of nights that I didn't have it, I'm like, it feels different. It doesn't feel like the right vibe because it was like dark in the back there, and I feel like whenever I change or not change, or I think I like add a little bit to my life that makes it a little bit more, I guess the word would be luxurious. Once I lose it, um I don't know how to deal with that. Like I think with a bunch of other things, right? I have, I guess the right word for it is that I'm spoiled. I spoiled myself basically to the point where like, okay, so sometimes I had to drive my dad's car. And my dad's car is like a 2004 Corolla or something like that. And if my mom's not home, and my mom has a like a 2019 Lexus 450 or whatever it's called. It's a pretty nice SUV, and I drive that most of the time, right? Because I'm used to the luxury and stuff. But then whenever I drive my dad's car, I'm like, it's like cloth seats. He has trash everywhere. I mean, but that's just him. But the radio didn't work. Everything felt cheap, and I started thinking, it's like, I don't even have my own car. Why am I like so unhappy with the things that I have? No, I feel like I just wanted to talk about that subject. No, I think going back to the why I like luxury stuff, I don't know. I think it's just, huh. This is hard to think about. Let me go back. Right, if I have, I'm so used to things, but it takes me a little bit to get it. Cause I guess like even when I moved back here, of course I hated it. I had my own apartment in LA. It was a pretty nice apartment. I had a nice car, a decent car, but it was at least my car. I mean, it had cloth seats too. It was the 2017 Mazda CX-3. I had it in white, and it was like the standard, the basic edition. Um, I liked it. I think I was humble with it because like I bought it, on my own. Like when I moved to LA, is the first time I kind of like lived on my own, and I was 27 when I moved there. No, 26. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But no, I think actually the first time I moved out was when I was in the Navy, and I feel like that's when it started happening. At 18 years old, like I was saying before, I always felt really independent, or I tried to be independent, probably since I was like a very young age. I feel like 7 was when it started. Um, yeah, and ever since then, I just wanted to sort of be on my own. But I knew from like 7 to 18, uh, I guess I was smart enough to know not to run away because it's like, where am I gonna stay? Plus, like, I have a roof over my head. My parents are, well, at least my mom is making me food. I have somewhere to sleep, so there's no point in running away. Um, like I always knew I had like a safety net, and I think that's one of my problems too, is my safety net. Like I knew I had when I moved to LA to chase this dream of being in the film industry. Like I always knew in the back of my head, I'm like, if this fails, I can always just move back in with my parents. They won't say anything. My mom will probably be okay with it, and I'll just live. And that's what happened. I I feel like I probably need to get rid of this safety net, and I don't know how to. I mean, I technically know how to, but I like mentally in my brain, I don't know how to like just not do it. Cause the last 3 months I was living in LA, it was a pandemic, and I couldn't afford rent, so I asked my mom for my portion to pay for the rent for like 2 months, I think. And one of the months I like went negative into just so I can stay there. And then once I realized like there's no way I can make it, I had to move back. So it's not necessarily me having the safety net. Well, I mean, in this case, because of the pandemic, I am glad I had the safety net. So I don't know. I mean, your parents, at least, well, I feel like my mom she'll accept me coming back home because I need to, like I did after the military, like I did after LA. I mean, at least she's allowing me to like allow. I'm an adult. I can go anywhere I want, but like instead of her like reprimanding me and stuff like parents would, like, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. She doesn't, and so I appreciate her for that. Um, what else did I think about this weekend? Oh, I was watching um Bad Friends podcast, but on YouTube, and the host Bobby Lee, he was having like a little existential crisis, and I feel like I've been having that a lot too. Well, at least this past couple weeks, like really, what, because I started speaking out loud like this more and got my thoughts out. You start to really think about the things you're talking about, and then sometimes hearing it back when I'm editing, and I was like, who the fuck do I think I am? Like right, I have this delusion about who I am. I don't know if it's a delusion, right? I'm trying not to self-diagnose anymore, which is why I started this podcast, to help me self-diagnose. But I think self-diagnosing yourself also, it makes you want to think that you have something, right? That whole placebo thing, like last night before I go to bed, I was coughing, and like I convinced myself, like, shit, I have COVID, blah blah blah. But like, no, you're probably just coughing. You haven't coughed in a while. It's cold. It's getting cold outside, and I was having these thoughts like, no man, you got it. Your chest is starting to hurt. And you're having a headache. And then I started thinking, like, while having this little panic attack, I was like, dude, I think you're just faking it to get some sort of attention. Like, but who the fuck you're trying to get attention from? You're by yourself. And then I started just more relaxed. I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. Like I convinced myself of so many realities that I don't like. It brings me away from what's really happening. And I think I started to have like a good look at myself. I'm like, I don't know why I think I have to be the smartest or whatever. What else did I write? I think I'm the smartest person. Whenever I give like an opinion or constructive criticism, I'm doing it at a place that I feel is higher than whoever I'm talking to. It's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This is how it is. And I mean, that's just how I feel, right? But factually, I don't know. I don't read any like, I guess, scientific books. Those are all plays and stories. Like, I have some psychology stuff that I wanted to read into, and a couple of business books. Maybe one day I'll get to them. I have them. I read the first 5 pages of the 80-20 principle. And that was at the beginning of December. And it's January 25th now. Yeah, so I don't know where that comes from, and I want to find out why I think I had to be smarter than ever. I think it probably has to do with a little bit when I was a kid. I think I said this before. From like basically preschool to 8th grade, I had nothing but A's. I had perfect attendance. I was the star student. I have awards for it, which is the craziest thing. But I think once I got those awards for achieving something like that grand at the time, like all A's and perfect attendance, like who else has done this? And at that moment, I thought to myself, I'm like, no one can fucking touch me. And then I got into high school, and girls came, and drama, and that changed everything. It brought me way down to where my place is, that I got so comfortable being at the back of the pack. I guess I don't know if that's I just thought that was cool to say. That's why I said it. But I don't know if that's really describes it. No, but I feel like I'm at like the lowest totem basically. I got put in my place, like, especially when this, my girlfriend at the time, she was giving me all this attention, and I was clingy towards her. So I was like, my feelings were dependent on her. It all came out. I was like, holy shit. To think you're some superstar and then be humbled. Is humbling. Yeah. And I started really thinking of like whenever I was in the military, or whenever I was 18 and basically on my own out in the world. I felt like everyone was always, I mean, I guess the word nice, they were nice to me, right? But of course, your friends, you're all mean to each other, quote unquote. I think that's just like the best way of friendship. It's because they know you so well and they're comfortable with you that you can exchange kind of like making fun of each other, and it puts you in check. It puts your friends in check, and that's what um that's one of the things I love most about the military was the people. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, why everyone was so nice to me, and like, and it always happened whenever, except when I was working at Reebok. That was kind of like my first real step into what adult civilian world is like. We say civilian veterans because like when you're 18 and you grew up in the military, you become an adult in the military. So we say civilian life, which is regular life, is different. It is not that different. I would say the biggest difference between the military and like the real world or civilian world is that in the military you see all the truths, but everyone is still okay with each other. Like, okay, they were definitely outspoken racist. They were definitely outspoken sexist. There was, all the criminals that you can think of under one battalion, right? But at the end of the day, we all know we're human, and it's like even when I was working with somebody and like I knew they were racist or someone and I knew they were sexist, either racist towards me or sexist towards me or whatever, we got the job done together. We we had our little bickerings or whatever, but we knew we when you're in the military you have this mutual understanding that no matter what, you'll you'll end up having that person's back. I think sometimes, I'm not sure if it's like fully reciprocated, but I think when you're in a military setting like that, in a large community, right? It's a strong community, and you'll have your differences, but at the end of the day, you're all like fighting for or serving your country. That's what I miss about it. Is that out here in the civilian world, there's it feels like there's no sense of real community. Um, it's either you're on one side or the other. You're not allowed to be in the middle. Uh, like you're not allowed to have opposite opinions of whoever, and if you're not with them, you're against them. I don't know. It's no one wants to be whole, like a one thing, and I think that's why some countries like, well, I don't know a lot of other countries, but smaller countries definitely. And but for example, like South Korea, and they all have to go through at 18. They're mandatory military. I know it would be impossible to do it here in the states. There's no way you can afford that much money. Um, for you know, I don't even know our population, like 30 million. Let's say, I don't know, 5 million. 5 million of those people are within the ages of 18 and 20. And yeah, there's no way the military can afford that, or the government. But what I'm saying is, in South Korea, they all had that sense of community at one point in their life, and I think it generationally gets passed on because they've all been through it. So whenever the adults have kids, they set them up to know about the community because they are going to have to go to the military at 18. Um, yeah, I just wish people would be nicer to each other. But easier said than done. But like I said, who the fuck am I to talk about that? I'm not smart. I don't really know. Like, I'm a hypocrite. I'm sitting here talking about community. I don't even know any of my neighbors' names. And even when I was in LA, I knew two of my neighbors' names. But yeah, I myself don't even know. I mean, I liked it in the military because I had this sense, and you kind of like have to be part of the community to, I guess, advance, to even be, to stay in. You have to be part. Like, you can't just take a random day off because you feel sick. It's like, no, you gotta come in and get everyone sick because we all have a job to do. It's kind of shit like that. Oh, I also did want to mention that, um, because I've been able to speak out using this podcast and um, have some of you listen, and I really appreciate you. Let me say that to the camera. I really, really appreciate you. I have been wanting to see a therapist. I don't know, maybe a year now. I mean, I've had thoughts of it here and there, but I've only recently considered getting a therapist, maybe about a year ago. And I'm gonna say right now, after this podcast, I'm going to contact one of my local VA clinics and see if I can make an appointment with the therapist. I had a chance when I was in LA. When I moved to LA, well, I guess it was 3 years ago then. But yeah, when I first moved to LA, I got VA insurance and I checked with one of my physicians, and I told her all the symptoms of depression and suicidal thoughts and all that. And I told her, and she diagnosed me with major depression, and then she recommended that I see a therapist there. And I said no. I was like, I don't need a therapist. Like I said before, I feel like I never need any help. So, but now because of the pandemic, I got to self reflect a lot. Plus, I'm getting a little bit older. I'm still living with my parents, but I know that's like small things to complain about. I know there are a lot of people who don't have homes, have been evicted. A lot of people are still dying. But I'm trying not to be one of the statistics. So I've decided to try to contact them to get a therapist. And the closest date I can possibly get is like in a month. They said 31 days. I mean, it's still faster than I know, like other, I guess, civilian therapists. They take up to 3 months and stuff. So at least thankfully for this, I can get it a little faster than most. And I think that's probably took me so long to do it because I was like, I can get myself better in 3 months, or I can get myself better in 3 days. I can get myself better by tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll be better. And I don't even know when I started saying that. It was so long ago. I always think about tomorrow. It's like, or putting things off tomorrow, like procrastinating like crazy. And I had to start. I'm starting to try to lean towards thinking about fixing now versus putting it off to tomorrow. So I'm going to call to set up an appointment with the therapist. Hopefully they work. one of my family members was telling me that for therapists, you really have to shop around. It could take a while to find the right fit for you. So, I mean, if I have to wait once a month, I don't know how long it'll take to get the perfect therapist, but I think starting now and later is best for me. I'm glad I thought that out. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope you have a great week, even though it's starting or whenever you're listening to. Just know that just be humble. Sit down. Yeah. All right, thanks guys for listening, and I will talk to you on Friday.